Hare Krishna. So when we hear and speak about scriptures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, many a times people ask this question that you say that Srimad Bhagavad Gita was spoken maybe 5,000 years ago and Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken generations before, and even time immemorial this knowledge has been coming down. So do you feel that it is really relevant in today's day to follow spiritual practices and instructions and injunctions given in scriptures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam? So we came across this question from various, especially the youths who are just entering into the fresh blossom of their life. They have a lot of aspirations, a lot of ambitions, and a lot of dreams that are yet to come true. And we find that they are fired up with their ambitions, they are fired up for the whole future that they are foreseeing at this day. And in this whole turbulence of different emotions and different expectations and aspirations and ambitions, when we approach them to understand the injunctions for their betterment and benefit, they come up with a question: do you really think that something which sounds like this is really relevant in the day's life today? So we thought of addressing this question because it's important and relevant to the modern day youths who are becoming ignorant, accepting something which is very unnatural for the humans, very unnatural for themselves as well. So what is spirituality? Spirituality means keeping the spirit in center of our activities. As we have been discussing, that our whole existence is comprised of a material component and a spirit component. The spirit soul is the actual source of all energy, all power, and that is the living force which keeps the body living. The body that acts is not because it gets energy from somewhere outside. The source of energy resides in the body, and this source of energy energizes the body to act according to the mind and intelligence that one has. A very simple example that can be given, that a light source or a bulb or a tube or any lamp emits light only until it is connected to the source of power. As soon as we disconnect the source of power, though the hardware of that lamp is still there, but it stops emitting light. Now, since the hardware is there, but it is not acting for the function that it has to do, we understand that its connection from the source of power that it is deriving from is disconnected. Similarly, this body acts only when it is connected with the source, and that source is called spirit. Now, this is the whole thing that spirituality deals with. It deals with spirit soul, the source of power that energizes this body to act in different ways. We have different senses to act. We have senses to see, hear, taste, feel the touch. So we have different senses, and we have action senses such as hands and legs and tongue. So there are different senses that act accordingly in sync and get our work done as we tend to, or as the aspirations and ambitions we have in mind. But these senses act according to a controller which is called the mind. If the mind gets disturbed, the activities of the senses are not useful at all. They act in a weird way and they'll end up in a big problem with us. Many a times people wonder, why did I do this when I knew that I should not do a certain activity? Even common man in general comes across this situation where he gets confused. I knew that I should not do this, but still I went ahead and did a particular act and then I landed in a problem. Arjuna also faced this situation and asked Sri Krishna that even if I know that I should not perform a specific act, why, who is forcing me to do something which I don't want to do? And then Sri Krishna gives a very wonderful explanation in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is actually the essence of spirituality. So, even in today's day, we keep on acting, our senses do act, our body is acting, our emotions are still there, we get mentally disturbed, our intelligence sometimes slips off our hand, and then our senses act in such a way that we should not. So if these things are relevant as on date, then the control of the mind, which is the ultimate result of spiritual science or spiritual practices, won't it be relevant in today's day? You find actually the world over, people are searching for solutions to problems like psychological, psychiatric, and many other mental and physical problems that are creeping out. If you think deeply and understand the source of all these problems, one who is honest to accept would wholeheartedly accept that lack of spirituality is the only reason why so many mental and physical problems are forming their basis in modern day's life. So it is important to see through the eye of the scripture and actually know the basis of spirituality. Spirit doesn't change. It was the same 5,000 years ago. It is the same today, and it would be the same for time immemorial to come. So if spirit doesn't change, spiritual practices would always remain relevant, no matter in what age we live in. Do we live in the Stone Age or in the medieval or in the scientific age or in the computer's age that would come into? And you will find that people, a human whose essential component is spirit, cannot be devoid of spiritual practices and remain happy. So if one needs to aspire for happiness, spirituality or spiritual practices or devotional practices in today's life are inevitable. Our duty is to understand this and accept this rather than speculating and then don't find a way forward and just get into a tug of war with our emotions and relationships. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.